All right.
All right. So we are live on, on Facebook. Sorry, guys, for taking so long. We're having some difficult issues with the computers here.
Technical
Um,
difficulties.
so since we're going on live, I have to use the this is the same thing. You can start sharing and stuff like that. Running a little late. Sorry about that, guys. It was my fault. It wasn't Eddie's fault. I tried to yes, it was my fault. And I apologize for the echo in here because it's the setup. I'm using two computers and stuff like that. So I see that we're on live. Eddie, how you doing, man?
Good, not too bad considering the circumstances. All right. How about yourself, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Like I said, I apologize everybody for the delay, and hopefully everybody can join us. A couple people are already joining the party. So thank you for showing up, guys. Um, So, for anybody that's joining and don't know, this is my friend Eddie Villarreal. But go ahead and give your spiel about who you are and everything about you and so forth.
All right. So my name is Eddie Villarreal. My DJ name that I go by is DJ Eddie V. That's Eddie V. V is in Victor, not Eddie B, not Eddie B House, not Eddie from Eddie and Jobo. Figure I just clear all those up before before anyone thinks like, oh wow, he looks really young for being the guy from B96. That's not me. So Eddie V.
Right. Let me silence this one. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Good. Because I want to make sure that I got all my I can hear you. So Eddie,
Yes.
uh, when was the first time me and you actually met?
Uh, if I can remember, I would have to say the first time you and I met was probably at Rancho Luna. So it wasn't even PM, it was Rancho Luna when I got booked to do like Sundays and then Thursdays there.
Yeah,
Um,
Sundays was my gay night and Thursdays was my reggaeton night, right? That was the
yeah,
and,
yeah, that was.
and who recommended you?
I actually got scouted, I guess you can say. I used to DJ with a DJ crew, and I was DJing on the south side at a restaurant called Valentina's. And I used to be in a crew called Fusion Entertainment with Alex Acevedo and a couple other friends. And so we were throwing a party at the time. And I was actually doing like a closing set. And there was, by the way, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I was doing like just a closing set of just like hip hop and like some reggae, some dance hall. All the guys at the time were just playing house. And so I found out that actually Tony, our boy Tony C, and Carlos Vasquez, were actually there. And so they had actually asked, like, I guess, to Alex or whoever was there, like, if I would be interested in doing a set at Rancho Luna. So
And
then
I think that was because DJ Elite Gonzo was DJing there as well for me, right?
he
Rancho Luna.
yeah at Rancho Luna, yeah. But I got basically scouted out of this one restaurant that we were doing this party at, and so Carlos and Tony saw me, and so they kind of like asked if for me to go with Alex Acevedo at Ajax at the time, our good friend Ajax, and we both DJ'd at Rancho Luna like I don't know a few weeks later or something, and then yeah, Elite was there. He was the resident, and that's where I met Elite, and that's where I think I met you, if I'm not mistaken, before PM.
Right.
Yeah, kind of started there.
Well, just to clarify, just in case if people don't know the kind of the time frame and stuff like that, during the time I was doing Club PM, I also was doing Rancho Luna. That was if Rancho Luna had its own entity in the sense that Rancho Luna was, I think it was kind of first like reggaeton night on Thursdays. There was a lot of people there. It was a basically we're doing 18 and over events if I'm not mistaken there on Sundays and on Thursdays. And then obviously Rancho Luna had their salsa nights there on the weekends. But I remember that it was on those days that we brought you in because it wasn't strictly Latin. We wanted somebody who was
Right.
able to do a little bit of everything, reggae, reggaeton, and hip hop, and and you also had a college following, if that wasn't kind of the thing, because backstory with Tony and Gonzo is they became my partners. If you remember, I had Saturdays already where I was doing Los Cuatro Fantásticos,
Right.
and Gonzo and Tony became my partners for Fridays. And if you remember, that was the big college night Fridays there over at Tropicana, or Club PM, as it was
Yeah.
called afterwards. And so I know we were branching out into getting different guys. And that's how I met you, if I'm not mistaken, but through Tony. Um, and after the Rancho Luna aspect of it, what ended up happening with you? Because I don't think you came to Club PM with us.
Yeah, I actually kind of did. Like not too long after Rancho Luna, like I did Rancho Luna for you, and kind of sort of followed through to working into PM, and you kind of ended up working me into there.
Okay.
And then I kind of just stood there, wrote it till the end.
Well, you got to. I apologize about that because Tony and Elite kind of handled the DJs on Fridays.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They kind of handle. So I was limited to, because if you know me already, when I partner with somebody, I kind of said, okay, you guys are smarter than I am. Go ahead and do what you got to do and stuff like that. I think at one point there was like 20 DJs working for us.
Yeah, I mean, you had like 3 floors, so
right.
Yes, I mean there was room for it.
Yeah, and one of the guys I mentioned, like downstairs, where there was Neurotic was DJing with us as well. There was what's his name? Oh God, there's another guy as well. He was doing like Dominican bachata as well, downstairs in the basement. And then you guys had the top floor. If I remember, you guys had the Palladium aspect of it.
Yeah.
And that was more of the dance, hip hop, reggae, top 40 type of music. And then as you went down the floors, the first floor and then the basement, it got more Latin per se. And I remember that was part of what we did. And I think that was during that course where the Club PM had to close, right?
Yeah, well, we kind of did we did PM, and then after a while, like I want to say they closed the Palladium level, like the PM level, and then we were doing the basement for a while on Saturdays.
Yes.
And then it closed because I remember eventually we transitioned from PM into the Tropicana level, and then we were in the basement for a while. But I think ultimately, it was pretty much getting shut down. But yeah, Saturdays I think it was like the last of it.
Then after that, I remember we went to Volcan. The crew went to Volcan. Did you follow us in Volcan, or did you end up doing? Okay, so again, there was so and you understand that it and I apologize for that because there was a lot of parties, a lot of going on there. So I remember Volcan in its earlier stage was really only brought on a Saturday night. And I remember we try to keep that format. I remember we had the Spanish rock room, we had the main room, and then upstairs we had the reggaeton, bachata room per se. And that's where I think Neurotic was up there as well. What you guys were DJing on the main floor with Alex Perez?
No, we were on the side floor actually. We were in the floor above the room above the rock room.
Okay.
The Bravo brothers and Alex had that main room.
Okay.
Where they played a little bit of everything, but me and Neurotic had the room right above the rock room, which was really just like hip hop, reggaeton, and juke.
and I try not to exaggerate numbers, but I think we were doing like 1,800 people there on a Saturday night.
Probably, if not more. It was a lot of people.
Yeah, I remember it was safe. I remember that was the cool thing about it. It was even though we were on 25th and Kedzie, it was actually nice and safe. Let's see, Jose, Tom, Monica, how you doing? You got quite a few there. Turtle, obviously, in the house and stuff like that. Got quite a few people here on the in the. So shouts out to everybody joining up. We're with DJ Eddie B. So then after that, we had a low, maybe about 2 months, and then we ended up at 720.
Right.
You came. I remember you coming with us at 720.
Yeah.
And I think that was I was hired more as the marketer than, but that was because of my following and stuff like that. But Cheeseball was the manager of kind of the whole place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that was probably more in your inline, if I'm not mistaken, because of the fact 720. We had one Latin floor, but you were like main floor, you were the top floor as well, and there was a basement as well. 4 floors. So
Yeah.
what floor were you mostly playing on when you were there?
I would do mostly like the hip hop floor when I was there, and if not, I transitioned between like that which was like the second floor, I think,
Okay.
and then sometimes the main floor when you walk in. So I think those are the only times. I did the basement once, but I don't remember. I think it was just like a Latin kind of deal in the basement where I think it was like, yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, that was where Ricky was at, right? Ricky Aguajita
I think so. Yeah.
Ricky was playing a lot of, but he was doing like remixing merengue and stuff like that. If I'm not mistaken. So after 720, or during the 720 times, I think you hooked up with some other people. Your one of your DJ partners, Lalo, was part of that crew with you as well. You kind of a symbiotic relationship with him, right? I mean, where you guys were basically kind of partners in a lot of the stuff and that started from there, if I'm not mistaken.
It actually started at PM because Lalo, DJ Scream, was DJing at Mambo.
Okay.
When we were doing PM, he was at Mambo with Styx. And of course Metro and Nonstop and all those guys. He was at Mambo while we were doing PM, and then eventually I met him at PM, where I think they booked both he and I to mix on the same night, and kind of worked well together then. And friends ever since. And then we always done like tag team sets and stuff like that. And so that's kind of where it started. And then like after like Volcan stopped, there was like a gap, and then PM started because it didn't happen right away for me. I'm not PM, I'm sorry, 720. After Volcan stopped, there was a gap, and at the time, like I kind of hung out with Lalo a lot, and so we started working with other promoters like the Perez brothers. They were working with like Eddie Tura and Unit Entertainment. Also worked with like Leon and Lewis. So started kind of doing the 21 and up clubs. So started bouncing around doing places like Red No 5, and then gradually worked our way into like doing stuff like Green Dolphin and Sangria, Home, and stuff like that. But all in all, like this whole time, like, like I obviously been DJing and doing weddings and stuff, mobiles and stuff on the side when I wasn't doing clubs.
Oh, that's that, and I must give me a time frame or a date. Was that 2010-ish? That was when it was in that low per se of the.
Maybe I couldn't tell you, man.
Yeah, I think because I know that was where, and there was a lot of like you said with the different promoters out there, different guys that were doing it, and I remember it was one of the things that I honestly have seen, and you were probably a better witness of this because I didn't come from a college crowd, and right. I know that you guys came from more of the college crowd. Where was your following mostly? Because I know there was the betas and the gammas and stuff like that. And that
pretty much. So I went to Columbia College,
okay.
And so Lalo was at UIC. And so when we would hang out, like we would hang out at UIC a lot, we would hang out with the Perez brothers a lot too. So it was a lot of the gammas, the betas, G5Os. So a lot of the the Greek life, the sororities, fraternities that were around kind of our same age, range that we would hang out with or DJ for, like a lot of their functions and parties and stuff like that. That's kind of how. So it was kind of a college crowd that, since we were in college at the time, like that was kind of our following and who we hung out with, and it was just our friends. Um, so yeah, it was college crowd that we
Well,
were.
and that's where I'm kind of seeing what was going on, because I remember when the Perez brothers and the guys that were doing Green Dolphin and you guys were doing Red No 5 and stuff like that. There was that following that you guys kind of have where which I didn't have technically the college crowd. If anything, I would honestly say that Gonzo and Tony were the ones who introduced me to the college crowd, because that was another aspect of it. And to be honest with you, when we're doing Club PM, if you remember that, on a Saturday night, it was very second generation, third generation Mexicanos that would be there. And then on a Friday night, when we had the club nights, that was a very college crowd, and that was a different animal. And what one of the things that I remember that we used to talk about is how we can make Friday and Saturday work if it's at the same place.
Right.
And hence that proved it, because we had a Saturday crowd. Not that everybody would come Friday and Saturday, but if somebody had a choice, they would come out on a Friday or they'd come out on a Saturday. And then you sometimes get that overlap of some people. There was always the regulars that we knew that would go there. But I think it worked out for everybody, because you actually had, and correct me if I'm wrong, we had a very clean crowd both Friday and Saturday. It was like, I mean, I don't think I remember there was a big problem with like the thug crowd or anything like that. It was very clean. Everybody was there kind of having a really good time,
Yeah, no, it was a clean crowd, but we also had good security. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, big guys and stuff like that. I know.
Security was on it, so I mean, we didn't. I don't recall many issues like that, but
No, I mean,
thankfully we had good security.
But I mean, let's be honest with you. You've seen really bad crowds in nightclubs,
Yeah.
and we could see other promoters who have gone that direction. We walk in a place and we're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to DJ and get out before anything pops off per se and stuff like that.
Right.
Because and I think that's like what I've seen happen with a lot of promoters is because they tend to, and I'm saying this at you as the DJ for these events, you always knew, hey man, this is a really nice crowd. This is a beautiful crowd and stuff like that. And then I remember Gonzo, and speaking of Gonzo, I would go with him sometimes when he was DJing. I would go with him just to hang out and not that he's working for me, but I would hang out with him, and he would tell me, you know what, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore because this is not what I want, kind of crowd I want.
Right.
Have you ever been in that situation where you made that decision saying, you know what, the money's good, but you know what, I'm not going to do it?
Yeah, there was a couple times, like after, like getting into more the promoting part of it, the aspect of DJing, because I did do that with like Lalo and Styx and Cisco. We created our own company, our own promoting company. So that was actually always something that was on our mind, where we would, have to decide as a group whether we wanted to do a party at a certain place or not, because for us it was always quality over quantity. So
and I'm glad you said it that way. That was something. I think a lot of times promoters miss that point.
Right.
They look at it for the dollar, and they don't look at it for the customer per se and stuff like that. So and after 720 had closed, where did you end up going? How did this go into you? I mean, you mentioned about you guys creating that team.
Yeah. So after like 720, well, around that time, I think it was prior to 720. Can't remember exactly, but we were doing like I was pretty much mixing with Lalo all the time, everywhere. Okay. And then we started working with the Perez brothers. Then we started doing Buzz. Buzz Thursdays. That's where I'm in Red No 5, and that's where I met Cisco. I met Cisco. Then we all clicked together, became good friends. Through Cisco, I met Adrian, and then we all clicked together. We all worked together a lot. We ended up getting booked a lot together. So, and then we started doing Sangria. Sangria. Adrian will be doing Zentra, and he was right down the block. And I think even Cisco mixed at 720 before the first time it was opened. I'm not trying to date him, but
you can't date him if you're talking about me, because I'm probably the oldest guy you know. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Cisco mixed there. I think it was called Cairo before, and I was like, I think.
Damn, he's that old. Holy shit. Well, maybe he is older than me. Shit.
I think it's good for his age then. I mean,
yeah, it looks great.
Cisco DJ'd a lot of places. He told me about it, and I was like, oh, cool.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I gotta have Cisco on our show then.
Yeah, he'll definitely tell you all the places he DJ'd. He's told me, and places I didn't even know about, or places I had heard about, read about, and wish I was old enough to get into, but I wasn't.
So give me a little insight about the team that you guys created. What was it called? What was the?
Yeah, so after pretty much DJing a lot of 21 and up clubs, we, as a group, decided to form a collaborative team, which we called Sex Events. Sex Events with a C, and it's basically an acronym for our names. So it was Scream, Eddie V, Cisco, and Sticks.
Okay.
And so we decided to call it that, and then it was actually Sticks' sister who needs to get the credit for that, because she created the name, the acronym. So she gave us that name, and we thought it was great, it was clever, and it was cool, it was quick, so we stuck with it. And then we started throwing parties, so we decided to start throwing our own parties, because we figured collaboratively we worked well together. We were very diverse as far as music style was. We never clashed, not only our personalities but our music style, so we always knew how to work well with either of the four of us. We always worked well together. So we started promoting, and then we started doing once a month parties, like every second Friday of the month, I think. We would do just a one-off just to see how it was doing, and then it was doing pretty well. We were doing some small places, but this was our following that had grown up with us, that was from college, and they were kind of, they loved hearing us play. They were very supportive. They were, they supported us all the way, like through a lot of the clubs that we were at. We were either hanging out, if it wasn't in college or in school where we were at, we were always hanging out outside of, clubs and having dinners, parties, hanging out at block parties and cookouts and stuff. So
I was gonna say the picnics and stuff like that.
So we always, we always had interaction regardless of the clubs. So that's what made it even better for us, is that we had that support of our following throughout the years. So we knew that we could count on our following to be there, like all our friends, because they knew no matter what, the music was going to be good. They were going to have a good time. There wouldn't be any drama. We also try to make it possible so that we didn't charge anyone to get in, really. So we made it possible for that. We made it as easy as possible to work together so that we could give everyone the best experience that they could have. All the stuff that we encountered in clubs and waiting in line and getting a hassle, whether it was even coat check, we would shove everyone's jackets wherever we could. Yeah, but I think at this time there wasn't any more open bar around, and that's what used to be cool back then. But we couldn't do open bar, but when we could, we would. But yeah, so we had a pretty good run for a few years, and then we were doing once a month parties, and eventually that graduated, and then it turned into basically us doing every Friday, at Patron's Hacienda, which was, I think, the first place that we picked up. Yeah, that was the place that we picked up where we were residents every Friday. So we picked up Fridays, and at the time, there wasn't much of a Latin market. There wasn't many options to go to, as far as nightclub, in the nightlife, a lot of places that already closed down. And if not, they were renamed, rebranded. and they weren't playing like Latin music,
Well,
so
well, let's clarify for everybody. When you say Latin, I just want to make sure because I just want it. There's different versions of Latin nightclubs per se. It wasn't a salsa night per se. Like it
it,
wasn't. It was. That's what I'm saying. And it wasn't. It wasn't.
it, it wasn't Alhambra Palace.
No. Or it wasn't. It wasn't Los Globos either.
Right, right. But no, like those places weren't around anymore. I think at the time, like that was a lot of that was kind of closed. I think, so there wasn't really many options unless you were going to like to hear Latin music, like even a little bit of salsa. You have places like Nacional, which definitely plays Latin music, salsa, merengue, bachata. But I don't think they play as much like hip hop or house or whatever, top 40. But that was probably the only option that I could think of that you could give people
Well,
at the time.
let me ask you a question, and this is, and you would better know this. Your crowd, your following, your college crowd, and stuff like that. They didn't want to hear their uncle's music or their, what their
Right.
dad was listening to and stuff like that. Yeah, I think what happened is that you would have a crowd that would go to see the sex events,
Yeah.
and their parents would come to maybe a Alhambra Palace because
Yeah.
they were, it was an older, more mature crowd per se, or like, and I'm using that example because they didn't want, they said, oh, you know what, Dad, Mom, you go party over there. We're gonna party with our friends over
Yeah.
here, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Your Latin events and stuff like that. So you
Yeah.
had a little spice of salsa, merengue, reggaeton,
Right.
bachata, and and at the same time you can play the reggae and the hip hop and
Right. Exactly.
and
So
some of the dance and get
yeah.
wild, and
Yeah.
stuff like
Sure.
that. So
Sure. Yeah.
uh,
Definitely. But even then, at the time, like my point was there wasn't many options. Like you were doing Alhambra Palace, but like I don't think you were doing it on Saturdays. But I mean, there wasn't really many options to go listen and dance to Latin music if you wanted to, like on a Saturday or a Friday night. It was very limited, from what we were able to tell. So we thought it was a good time to actually be able to do that and still balance it out with all the other music that we wanted to play.
well, so then fast forward, Patron Hacienda closes down.
Yeah.
I
I
know.
feel like it's a plague. So many clubs are shut down.
So what happens next? What happens
uh,
next for you?
Patron's Hacienda closed, but we had actually left maybe a year or two before it closed down.
Okay.
And that that was kind of it. Like we kind of stopped, because, well, while it was great that what we did, what we put together, we had some good years. It was kind of hard to try to find somewhere else and kind of get the deal that we had, like in terms of like the flexibility, with a place where we can do whatever we want, bring our own people into work as far as like bartenders, door persons. So a lot of places aren't that flexible. And then also like having four DJs, come in too. So Patrons was really great to us. So it was great being there. And then after a while, I mean, we were already older, so we were like, mid 20s, mid 20s, I'd say. And then Cisco and Sticks were a little older. So yeah, then that we kind of just said, all right, we called it quits. Or they might say I called it quits, but but I was kind of like, all right, well, kind of feel like we're not going to find this anywhere else. And what we wished we did was kind of combine forces a lot sooner, and could have had a longer run. But
Okay.
it was still fun. It was still a great time. Good memories
But
and stuff.
but you and Lalo still play. You
So
guys,
so we do DJ once in a great while. We'll do just like more for fun, like a tag team set. We'll still work with the Perez brothers here and there, like at Kava, at Moe's. We'll do like we were doing like Ronero. Um, so we'll do some sets here and there. We were working at Estate for a while too, till that closed, and then yeah, we decided, like, if we do work together, like it's just more fun if we just do like a tag team set between the two of us. But we don't really like work anywhere like as residents every Friday or Saturday or anything like that. You know, before obviously all this happened.
There's a picture on your Facebook, and I was just like, kind of, wow, where there's four computers all like set up.
Oh yeah.
It's, and I'm thinking, oh my God, that's gotta be crazy because I'm sure you have to unplug and stuff like that. Did you
Um,
guys?
yeah, but actually it worked really well. I'm telling you, like we worked very well together. Like between like myself, Lalo, Cisco, and Adrian, we were always able to figure out like, you know, if there was technical difficulties, we kind of knew to get there early or whatever. We knew how to switch out what we had to do. I mean, everyone runs into issues, but for the most part, like we were doing really well. Like I had gone through a lot of the troubleshooting myself, so I was always looking up how to simplify things for us when it came to doing stuff like that. But
So out of the group, were you the technical guy?
I don't, I wouldn't say I was, but I did help a lot when I could because I think it was between myself and Adrian that would do a lot of that. Like when we would like give each other the task of like getting early to set up.
Okay.
Like so we would rotate that task whenever it came to like clubs like that. Um, so I don't know, but I mean, for the most part, I think me and Adrian did a lot more of the technical part when it came to stuff because we would have like a CO2 tank and then we would have like confetti cannons. So he would have that, or I would have that. We also had a light with a gobo on it with our logos. So, and if it came to equipment too, a lot of the times myself or Adrian had it. So I guess it kind of did fall upon us as far as the technical portion goes.
All right.
But yeah,
Well, I guess that's important when there's a group.
sure.
There's there's guys that are good at technical. There's
Yeah.
good guys that are good at just
Yeah.
okay.
Like
Let's make
this,
sure.
like Cisco was kind of like he was our visual guy, so he would create the visual slideshows with our videos and pictures of the weeks before, and then he would put that together and put hours of work into it and basically put up these visuals. This is when video mixing was really huge and new. We would play it on the screens all over, so he had like his task. He knew what his job was.
So
um,
who was the marketing guy?
that was Lalo.
Yeah, Lalo was the
I'd
marketing
say that
guy.
have to be Lalo. Like we all collaboratively work together, but I would have to say Lalo. Lalo's got that marketing gift. So he like, yeah, he was our talker. He was our talker. He was good. He was the negotiator.
Well, I mean, when I say marketing guy, I mean obviously marketing through Facebook, marketing through. I mean, was Facebook a big factor for you guys, or was it just
Yeah,
all like word of mouth, or is it like
it was a little bit of both, but Facebook also helped a lot. But we collaboratively did it all. Like we would share everything through Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram, you know, through however we could. But we made it so that one of us could create a post and share it. We had our own sex events page, so we really put a lot of work into preparing everything and working out like make just simplifying everything for ourselves just to make our jobs a whole lot easier. Cisco was also our photographer. Cisco was taking pictures for us at one time. So yeah, like everyone wore different hats at times if they needed to. So it was really good. Like I said,
who was the graphic artist then?
that was the only thing we didn't have was our own graphic artist in the floor. So yeah, we actually had to get our flyers made. So we had to get our flyers made, unfortunately. But
that in itself is a pain in the ass.
oh yeah, for sure. And especially with us, because it was like every Friday we had something, and we wanted to do different theme parties. So
Right.
Patrones Hacienda was a lot of fun. We had a lot of theme parties where we would actually give props out and bring a bunch of props out for like luau's and St. Patty's Day parties and nerd parties and whatever the case was. Like we always wanted to just throw a good party for our friends. And,
What was his name? The owner of Patron Hacienda. What was his name?
Lewis.
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis. Yeah.
So, and not to say anything about, I want you to continue your story, but I think I ran into you and Lalo at a function, at a cigar function. I think that I went to.
Yeah.
That was the last time I seen you guys. And Lewis was there as well, the owner of Patron Hacienda. I know he opened up a new place in the suburbs. But I haven't seen you guys in a while. And unfortunately, that was the night that I ran into you. That's when my mom passed away. I had found out the next day my mom had passed away. but I know it's always been a good time, and every time me, you, and the guys get together, we always say, hey, it's good to see
Yeah.
you. One of the things that, I don't know if you said you've seen some of the shows, but this is one of the things that I'm very thankful that I'm doing with you guys is I honestly believe that between all us guys, because we know a lot of people, a lot of DJs know each other, right? A lot of guys know each other,
Right.
and like and to say the same thing with like musicians kind of all know each other, DJs kind of all know each other, even though maybe they don't work in the same realm per se. The hip hop DJs, the Latin DJs, all the bachata DJs, the reggaeton DJs, and stuff like that. And when do we actually get to talk to each other and hear our history per se? And that's we don't.
Yeah, no, I was actually thinking about that. I was like thinking about that before you asked me. I was like, wow, it takes a quarantine for you to want to know about my history, huh? It takes a pandemic, it takes a global pandemic.
But in all seriousness, if you really think about it, Eddie, what you were there doing a job, and you did a good job, and nothing about it, and you were working, on a consistent level. But yeah, I didn't grow up with you,
Right.
and a lot of guys that did grow up with you, they never knew your history per se. And that's what I'm thankful for you telling us your history, because I want people to know your history, where you came from. And so let's go back to your history. What made you want to be a DJ?
um, so my dad was a DJ, and he had his own DJ company, and I used to help him out, like when he was doing weddings and stuff. And obviously, this is all vinyl era, carrying trunks of records and crates and turntables, and so I actually used to help him out, and then didn't know anything about it. It was more like a chore, so it wasn't like I really had an option. Like I would just go to help, but I started picking up like music he was playing. I was watching him a lot, and then years passed by, and I think I was 12 at the time, and years passed by, and I'll never forget it. This is like uh, he started using CDs that were fairly new, and he had a CD player. And I remember he was by himself, and I think it was like a baptism, and he went to the bathroom and he didn't come back in time to switch the song. So I actually switched it for him, and then he's asked me, he's like, "Did you do that?" And I said, "Yeah." And so he's like, "Oh, okay." And so he's like, "Play this one next." And then so I played it, and he watched me how I did it, and he made sure my levels were fine and everything. And he's like, "Well, you don't want to go too loud, whatever." Basically, just DJ 101 on what to do and what not to do. And then he then turned around, he gave me a stack of like CDs, and he's like, "After that, play all these." And so he like marked the songs that he wanted me to play, and I was like, all right. So to this day, it feels like I still haven't gotten through that stack of CDs because I'm still DJing and basically working for him, with the DJ company that we have. He doesn't obviously, now he's more like just the owner manager of the company. He just does all the formalities and makes contracts and stuff. So I just DJ and we both work together, but I do more of the work because it's a lot more of the newer music, but he still jumps on once in a while. Like if you've got to play.
So he still has he does the mobile gig?
He still does, because we ended up just keeping the company going, and then
Right.
everything has all been like word of mouth business, like all through referrals. Like I didn't want like a website or anything, just because we used to work with other people, and a lot of people just wanted the whole father-son experience with he and I working together.
Right.
It was also well balanced too, because he played dusties and oldies and taught me all about that, and then also like Spanish music, like norteñas and stuff like that. So he made sure that I learned to play that music before I played what I wanted to play.
Okay.
Because he basically wanted me to learn where music came from, what it was about, before I got to play my loud ass hip hop or house that I wanted to play.
Well, then I can say good for him, because honestly,
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah.
if I had a child who followed into my and my daughter Angela, that was always the like growing up. It's like, is she gonna get into the music? Is she gonna be and thank God she did it. So I mean, thank God she did it. But but a big supporter and stuff like that. But I also think, and then I have my son Christian, who's in the Air Force. He went into that direction. So thank God he didn't do what I want to do.
Right.
But if there was going to be a child to say he takes on what I do and stuff like that, yeah, I think that's real important that you learn the roots before you learn, anything
Yes.
else, and where
Yes.
the music came from and stuff like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I met your father a couple of times. I think I met your father a couple of times. Um, and if I'm not mistaken, he came from the era that I started DJing when I was doing Malos per se and stuff like that, and Rich Morales and stuff like that, because that's
Yeah.
the days that we were doing the Dusties and stuff like that. His name is Eddie too, right? Am I mistaken?
No, his name is Larry.
Larry? Okay, okay.
Larry V.
Okay. So that and what area did you guys grow up at? Where was the area that
So I was born and raised in the South Side of Chicago. So
Okay.
That's an area.
and if your father when you did, because I'm guessing the mobile gigs, and from what I hear, like Marshall telling me, Sombra was saying that's got its own following. It's got its own
It does. It does. It's its own.
world.
Yeah. It's its own entity. Like it's its own, creation, its own monster. There's a lot that comes with it, but I feel like if you can do mobiles, you can, you can actually, be able to manage doing clubs and stuff, and it just kind of makes it a little bit easier. At least it did for me. So doing mobiles, like obviously I learned how to carry equipment, how to pack stuff, how to wrap stuff, cables. Yeah. You definitely get, yeah. Until you get older, and then you have back problems. But yeah, and then again, it just lets you develop a system of how to do things, so it just becomes a lot easier. It's like second nature when you're loading up and setting up for a wedding or a cotillion. It just becomes that much easier and quicker to do. So
Well, okay, so let's look at the reality now with the COVID. So that put a
oh yeah, that's
monkey wrench on everything.
yeah. So,
Mobile gigs, club gigs.
yeah, just any work for any DJ whatsoever. So I mean, all we can do is wait it out, and hopefully it works out for everyone that's like postponing their weddings and stuff, because that's what's going to happen. People are postponing for later down the year or next year. So hopefully it works out. But we're kind of lucky we didn't have that many weddings lined up, like at least to the beginning of the year, just because it's Chicago. Like a lot of people don't, like, as far as we know, like haven't really booked us for like January, February, March weddings. Like we're still, freezing cold. So you're kind of lucky in that aspect.
Your boy DJ Eclipse Danny says you were the best drinking friend he knows.
Most of the people on my watch party want to know about that. They're like, "When do we talk about the real stuff that happened behind the scenes?"
and he's actually drinking water. That's not alcohol.
I said it was straight vodka.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you're grown now. Like you're just drinking water.
Yeah. No, I mean, but I think also, I know we did shots. Come on, we went to the clubs and stuff like that. We all had, that was part of camaraderie, to having shots with the guys and stuff like that. And I'm sure because you four guys were together, there was that advantage that you guys had, because if you're DJing, there's three guys at the bar having shots with everybody in the club aspect of it. So it brings people together. And I think that's where you guys had a really good advantage in the club scene, whereas like I'm stuck behind the turntable. I can't have shots with everybody. I can't be that, I can only wear one hat. Whereas you guys are able to schmooze with everybody, have shots with everybody, have the drinking, and hence what Danny said, the best drinking buddy. And that's cool. I mean, I honestly admire you guys for that, because I missed out on a lot of that fun that couldn't be in the crowd per se. Even like for instance, I this has happened at my birthdays. Anytime I had my birthdays, everybody used to give me shots, right? I couldn't get drunk because I'm working. You know, you're busy working.
Right.
Whereas you can have fun, and not that you're getting sloppy or anything like that, but well maybe sometimes, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. No, you're not right. Who does that? Who does that on their birthday? No.
but but I remember at the end of the night, I'm like, what the hell? I'm sober still, but you know, and Danny, we could tell stories about Danny getting drunk on his birthdays and stuff like that. But I remember a lot of guys getting drunk, you know, because there was a less of the responsibility of doing all these jobs per se. And if you guys are, you know, you have four guys, hey, let him enjoy himself, let him have fun, and the other three will take
Yeah.
the roles and stuff like that. And I think
And
that that's where you guys had a big advantage on a lot of
yeah,
promoters out there. You know,
yeah, we did a lot of socializing. That was Lalo's task also too. So two of us, we would be DJing, and whoever wasn't mixing at the time had to go socialize with our friends. Like they had to go, had the tough job of going and drinking with our friends while the other one was,
ooh.
was mixing. Yeah. So
Tough job, God.
yeah, 'cause you know, yeah, we had to wear many hats. You know, you had to learn how to multitask. You had to be sober, and you know, you had to be able to mix and then drink and then stop and then drink more and then yeah.
I think that's cool. You know, I admire that from you guys because that's just something I never got that chance and stuff like that. I shouldn't say I haven't really got that much chance. And if like today, you know, anybody at Alhambra, they always know that they say, hey, let me get a shot. I get a shot before I start my set or start the night. And that's kind of just like anything else. It's kind of like, okay, you know what, let me ease and let me just, you know, relax a little bit. But um, I think that also what helps, and tell me if I'm wrong, Eddie, that we also in this industry we also were very cautious about how much we drank compared to a lot of people that were customers per se.
Yeah.
We knew we have to be responsible for, you know, hey, we got to last until 4 o'clock in the morning. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And then
you know,
sometimes
so
sometimes there was an after party too. So at Patron's Hacienda, because they closed at 2 o'clock, so 1:30, we would have an after party set up at Entourage. So people would go to Entourage right after, and that was open till I think 4 or 5.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so yeah, we had to be able to not only do that, but send our people over, make sure they got taken care of, and then go, you know, drink some more. Sometimes one of us would have to DJ, so we would rotate that slot as well too.
So after Entourage, did you have another after party?
I don't. I hope not, but I don't remember. I don't think
No,
so.
no, 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 no. I'm talking about Huck Finn's or
Well, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
or
yeah. Yeah.
IHOP.
Yeah. After DJing, then yeah, we would have to go get food, obviously. So,
Because I ran into you guys a bunch of, at IHOP all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah. It
That
was,
was
it was
I
usually
was, I,
yeah, it was usually somewhere to go eat. We just had to. After a while, like doing that for so long, you know you need to put something in your body.
well,
It's-
you know, but some people don't realize that some of the best stories were after at the table where we're talking about what happened the night of, and we would go
Right.
to breakfast and stuff like that. And then you run into, I remember they would love us there at all these places because everybody would show up. You know?
Yeah, you basically take the after party. Yeah, that was like the second after party.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it
True.
was like. And then I would run into, you know, I think you would run into people that were at another party, and you
Yeah.
find out, you know, that were like, hey, what's going on? Hey, where were you at? You know, then you ask the questions. Oh, how was the night? And then you hear the gossip and you talk about what happened and stuff like that. So
Right.
I mean, that's, you know, so through the course of your you know DJing aspect and your DJ life and stuff like that, can you say what would be your highlight of your DJ career? What would be one thing that if you could say, okay, you know what, this is a wow factor.
Um, I'd have to say, I mean, I don't think I could just have one. uh,
Okay.
but one of them was definitely mixing at Volcan when Pitbull was there. Before he was the Pitbull he is now,
Yeah.
Mr. 305. Like that was definitely a wow factor because yeah, me and Roddick have pictures. We all have pictures with them. That's definitely one of them. You know, the other one that's a big one for me is like being able to actually take on the opportunity and the the like hardships of becoming a promoter, which I never thought I'd ever want to or think I'd be, and actually taking on more responsibility within being in the nightlife with like sex events. So
Without and you realize how it is not easy as much
no,
as people people believe. Like,
yeah.
oh yeah, just put something on Facebook and people will come.
I mean, I was just thankful we got past the flyer era where we didn't have to be our own street team and start putting it on people's cars.
I've done
Yeah,
that.
I remember. Yeah,
And you know I still do that. You know that, right? You still,
isn't that illegal?
well, you know what? And you know I'm there at the festivals. You know, Cuban Fest, the Puerto Rican, and I'm passing out flyers and stuff like that. And you know, one thing and this take it for what it is. You know, I would get people ask me, how come I don't hire people to pass out flyers? And one of the things that was, and if Miguel, you know Miguel, um, he asked me the same thing, and his brother Marco said to him, "No, the reason why it's him passing out the flyer, so the people actually see me passing out the flyer." And I think that's a big part of it because if you remember, like you said, growing up in your college people, if that's where they knew you from, they never forget that. And if I'm passing out flyers, because if I'm at the park, you know, at
Right.
the Humboldt Park, or if I'm at the Reese Park, or I'm at any of these festivals, or you know, or at anywhere, I'm passing out flyers, and there's people get the chance to talk to me, and
Yeah.
it's me passing out the flyer and stuff like that.
Yeah. It
And I think that changes the difference between like the Facebook invite.
it does.
Facebook invite is very general. It doesn't have that same connection as a person coming in and saying, "Here you go."
You always want to have a personable interaction with your following or with your crowd. Same thing with like, it's like saying if someone has a problem in a club, like, you know, and they got invited by you and you tell them, yeah, come on in, you're gonna have a good time, and then they run into some trouble, like, or they lose something, and you know, like a purse or whatever, a jacket, and then they go to you for help, and you're just like, well, it's out of my hands. Like, you know, people don't want that. Like, they won't come back, you know, if you can't help them. So it's always good to like go that extra step and actually show face and interact with your crowd so that they see that it's not you. Same reason why my dad and I just work together, because when it comes to the mobiles and the, you know, the whole weddings and sweet 16s, because they see our face, like they wouldn't want us to basically outsource another DJ, whether, you know, they're good or not, to do the work, because the reason we got booked is because they like the way we both work together.
Right,
So,
right.
so yeah, that interaction is important with whether it's in a club or at a wedding.
Well, so let me interject something about this. Because of this whole COVID-19, I think the street team is gonna almost have to go back to doing what this, because how are you going to get people in the you know, even though it's Facebook and stuff like that. But now I'm just wondering if this, going back to the roots, how we used to do the club scene, is going to be um, the way everything, because I know there's going to be this whole thing about, like, it's scary in the sense of people not wanting to be next to each other. Do you think that we're going to be able to convince people personally to get people in? Because I'm sure Facebook is going to be always there, and you know, and people. But do you think that's going to make a difference? Are people going to go back to the, maybe they, hey, come see me. Here's a flyer. You know.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I feel like people, especially in Chicago, can't speak for everyone, but mostly in Chicago, I feel like people are just, a lot of people are gonna do what they want. So a lot of people are still gonna just show up regardless. But I think a large amount of people are gonna be more cautious. So a lot of people aren't gonna want to go out at all, you know. But I feel like it's just going to be a matter of time before everyone gets comfortable enough to actually go back out to places in public and be around
So
social.
I asked somebody this question. I'm going to ask you. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that people? I mean, do you think people are going to go buck wild? Like somebody said like as soon as
Yep,
it's ready, open and then boom,
yep,
they're
yep.
gonna.
I'm personally not going to go out when that happens because I feel like it's going to be like St. Patty's Day times 10.
Right.
Every,
That's
every,
exactly what somebody said.
yep, yep.
And
That's exactly what I think is going to happen.
I know there's no until there's a vaccine. There's always the question of I laugh about it in the sense of when I'm hearing that these dogs and cats are getting COVID now. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, if that's the case, then I don't think it's going to be stopped anywhere. It's
Yeah,
going to be,
yeah.
it's
It'll get worse before it gets better.
right. It's going to morph into whatever, more stuff like that. Um, where do, now that you stopped the sex events and you're doing the mobile, where are you doing any live streaming on your own? Are you doing any of that through the
A little bit. I've messed around with it a little bit. I've mixed with Cisco. I've mixed with Lalo a couple times. We've tried like the Facebook Live and everything. It was just kind of messing around, kind of just seeing how it works. So I've done a couple Twitch sessions too. So Twitch obviously seems to be the most flexible where anyone can play whatever they want. But even now they're actually muting your copywritten audio on your playbacks. So it's good for the live feed. But yeah, I've done it only maybe about three times, 3 or 4 times. So it's not too bad, but it's fun. Like in terms of being a DJ, like it's good to get that out because we're used to either mixing maybe once or twice, every other week or doing a wedding. So I feel like that's just stuff that builds up, and we gotta get that out. So whether it's a live stream or not, like it's great to have some sort of an audience, to at least be able to enjoy that because I feel like as good as it feels for us, it feels for other people too, our audience that
well,
enjoys
that's what,
hearing us mix or hearing whoever their favorite DJ is mix.
right. I think that's what Caesar and I were talking about yesterday was how we yeah I think we all do it. We like getting paid for what we do. Okay,
Of course.
that's the course. But we also really enjoy giving the joy of the music to people that are out there in front of on the dance floor or in front of the live streaming or just people enjoying the music. Um, I'm just wondering if you know what this, part of this what I'm doing with you, Eddie, and every DJ that I'm doing because you're the 10th DJ that I'm talking to already. Um, I'm hoping that with these conversations that we have, when people see you live streaming now and people see you at the club, they can honestly say to, "Oh, I know Eddie's history now. I know Eddie's
Yeah.
story. I know what occurred." And I think that's important because this is important because as I tell everybody, all this is going to be archived, And I think that if in 2005 when we brought Pitbull, before Pitbull was somebody like
Yeah.
honestly, Pitbull was just nobody knew who Pitbull was,
Just
but
it's just another artist coming up.
right, exactly. And if I could have it archived and we could have these interviews, we did all the stuff that I'm doing now with you guys, I think it's important because we never know what's going to happen for the future for this business and stuff like that. So I really appreciate, you coming on to my show.
Yeah.
I any times I know we started later, so that's why time's going past 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anything you want to say to the audience that's listening to the people that are out there?
Just stay safe. Don't go out if you don't have to. Big shout out to everyone on my watch party. All my friends and A lot of our friends, our mutual friends that we have watching. Adrian brought up a good, good concept of just taking people's temperatures at the club door. Once that opens up, we'll just start doing that once the COVID is done. But no, big shout out to everyone, all the followers.
I was talking to the owner of Dylan's, because I do Dylan's there Friday and Saturday, but also because he's a restaurant owner as well. And Dylan's was a unique situation because they have a crowd from 12 o'clock until 8 o'clock every day. That's an after work crowd that's there. And obviously, when we got there Friday and Saturday, that we became the other aspect of it. They're 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning. But I says, just like we have bouncers at nightclub checking IDs, I'm sure that's what's going to happen with not just with nightclubs, but every place.
Yeah,
we're going to have somebody there checking, and when I say taking the temperature, we don't mean a thermometer down the throat. We're talking about the gun with the temperature and stuff like that. I think they do it at a couple of Costco's and stuff like that. They're checking people's temperatures. But I think that's what you're going to kind of see the norm for the safety of the customers and the, just people's security aspect of it. It's almost it's a bouncer that's going to be checking IDs and checking temperature.
Right. They're gonna have a physician and a bouncer on standby. So someone's gonna pat you down and then someone's gonna take your temperature. So
yeah. And so that's I think Adrian's right. So I think that's going to be like that.
It's the only thing's gonna give everyone a peace of mind, I guess, for the time being, until everyone, like I said, gets comfortable enough to actually be able to socialize and interact with each other in less than 6 feet.
Yeah. So. Weddy, thank you very much for this. Thank you for your time. I hope it was quick for you. I know the hour goes quick for a lot of people.
Yeah, it definitely flew by. This is fun. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
All right.
Talk to you guys later.
All right.